Good morning. It is May 3rd, 2023. This is Erin Houston, Deputy Secretary of State for Securities and Administrator of the Securities Division. This is our meeting to solicit public comment on the proposed revisions to Nevada Administrative Code, Chapter 90, LCB file number R018-21. Present at our meeting is Judy Harris, advisor to the Nevada Securities Division. There is no one else present at the meeting. It is now 10:19, and this meeting was scheduled and noticed properly for 10 a.m. on May 3rd, 2023. Please note that this meeting is being recorded pursuant to NRS 233B.061 subsection 5. Our hearing today is an opportunity for interested parties to express their thoughts on the proposed revisions. The notice of hearing included both the text of the revised regulations and an agenda for today's meeting, which included notice of our intent to act upon the proposed regulations contained in LCB file R018-21. I will have two separate comment periods, one for parties to comment on the additions and revisions to the existing regulations as currently set forth in NAC 90 Administrative Code, and then a general public comment period following that discussion. We will consider all written and verbal comments and then revise regulations as necessary. The hearing today is not one to render opinions on the law, legal or otherwise, and we will not be answering specific questions. But if you do have specific questions, please ask me directly or email me at ehouston@sos.nv.gov. Although there is no one present, I do not anticipate further comment or questions. If you do provide written comment, please note that those will be considered and hopefully incorporated into our final draft. I am going to go over this process so there is a clear expectation of what will occur. This is a public forum and the meeting is being recorded, as I already noted. When you speak, please identify yourself by name and state which organization you represent. First, we will open the forum for comment for additions to the NAC, and then to revisions to the administrative code, and I will go over generally what is being included in these revisions. Please see the agenda attached to the notice of workshop and notice of hearing for specifics on each section of the proposed regulations. Here are the general additions to the administrative code. The regulation draft includes virtually all NASA model rules promulgated through 2021. Those regulations are almost all already found in current iteration of NAC 90, but are adopted there by reference. Some of the regulations create a new exemption to licensing or for notice filing federally exempt securities. The new regulations derived from NASA model rules are as follows. Making clear that certain securities are covered securities and preempted from state registration requirements and allowing for notice filing of the same. Those securities are offerings by investment companies registered under the Investment Company Act of 1940. Number 2, creates a notice filing requirement for crowdfunding offerings made under the regulation crowdfunding exemption. Number 3, creates a notice filing requirement for Regulation A Tier 2 offerings sold under that exemption filed with the SEC. Subsection 4, creates an exemption to licensing for certain mergers and acquisition brokers in Nevada. 5, formally adopts NASA Model Rule 102E, subsection 1-1, which is NASA custody requirements for investment advisors. 6, formally adopts NASA Model Rule 102, subsection F, subsection 3, which is NASA performance-based compensation exemption for investment advisors, Model Rule 102F3. 7, formally adopts NASA Model Rule 203, subsection A-1A, which is business continuity and succession planning. 8, formally adopts NASA Model Rule 102A, subsection 4-1, which is the NASA unethical business practices of investment advisors, investment advisor representatives, and federally covered advisors. 9, formally adopts NASA Model Rule on investment advisor information security and privacy rule. 10, formally adopts NASA Model Rule 203B1, the brochure rule requirements for investment advisors, and 17 CFR 275.204-3. 11, formally adopts Model Rule 203A2, record-keeping requirements for investment advisors. 12 provides that certain documents can be provided electronically and for use of electronic signatures by adopting NASA's statement of policy on electronic offering documents. 13 adopts NASA continuing education rule for investment advisors. 14 adopts NASA model rule to protect vulnerable adults from financial exploitation. The other regulation revisions are virtually all cleanup language that modernize out-of-date citations. For example, NAC 93-21 currently adopts the FINRA conduct rules by reference, although the conduct rules were retired in the mid-2000s. So new regulations instead adopt the modern version of those same rules, chapters 2000 through 7000 of the FINRA rules. I would like to note the following changes will be made to the final version of the adopted regulations pursuant to public comment received from NASA, the North American Securities Administrators Association. In Section 35, subsection 1A, the language there will be changed to read 6 credits of ethics and professional responsibility offered by an authorized provider, at least 3 credits of which must cover the topic of ethics, which changes the words regulatory and ethics content as currently drafted. The same change will occur in Section 35, subsection 10G, where the words regulatory and ethics content means approved continuing education content that addresses ethical and regulatory obligations of representatives of investment advisors. The words regulatory and ethics content will be changed to ethics and professional responsibility content. At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comment on the proposed regulations as contained in R018-21 RP2 dated November 10th, 2022. There is no one present in the room. No public comment was received in writing pursuant to the properly noticed notice of intent to act upon regulation and notice of hearing for the adoption of regulations of the Nevada Secretary of State, LCB file R018-21 RP2. Does anyone have any additional comments generally? No one is present to provide additional comment. Judy Harris is attending and has no comment other than what has already been provided through the process of drafting these regulations. At this time, I would like to note that all public comments, both verbally through previous hearings and in writing, have been reviewed and mostly incorporated into this second revised proposed regulation, with the exception of a request from the American Retirement Association relating to language vis-a-vis fiduciary duty standard. Based upon the lack of attendees and additional public comment at this time, I move to adopt the second revised proposed regulation, LCB file number R018-21 RP2, including the changes to Section 35 as requested by the North American Securities Administrators Association. Thank you to all who have provided written feedback and to all who have attended previous informal hearings and workshops to provide comments and feedback generally about the regulations. This meeting is now adjourned.